Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live.
Yes, here we go again. That's going to be my thing. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Are we going to trademark these things?
Nobody's going to use any of this.
Nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. We are not Bruce Buffer, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, if I say it, do we have to pay him? Bruce or
don't do
yeah,
it.
or Michael?
It's too
What if I say them both?
It's too
Do they fight over the money?
Yeah, they have. Never mind. Big idols of mine, so we're not talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, we talked to Gordo, Professor Gordo. Now,
Yes.
it's another phenomenal mind in the world of Jiu Jitsu, and his conversation went in a very direct, very interesting way. He talked quite a bit about injuries.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of his story,
Yeah,
right?
huge
He's
part of his
known
story.
as a father of half guard, a founder of half guard. However you want to slice it, I mean, it's obvious that he didn't develop or he didn't create the half guard, but he singly contributed in a fundamental way how half guard is being viewed today.
Yes.
Right? It all came from a simple fact of him being injured. His knee was injured during the tournament, and then he had to protect the knee while he was training. That's how half guard was essentially, in his mind, was taken to the next level, if you will. And then we talked about quite a bit about injuries. We talked about, what to do during injuries. And that's the unfortunate part, I think, of jiu-jitsu itself. Right, we all love jiu-jitsu. We are on the mat because we love the art, we love the sport. However, we can't ignore the fact that it is a physical sport. It is a contact sport. It is a contact hobby, and I personally don't have a doubt that nobody has intentions to hurt anybody. In 99% of the cases,
Yeah.
right, 99% of the cases. However, shit happens.
Yes, it
It
does happen.
happens, right, and most of the time is unintentional, is accidents. However, consequences sometimes are, not what we desire, right?
Yeah, people get hurt.
Yeah, people get hurt. What's your take on injuries in general? And particularly, I'm referring to post the injury. What would be your approach, from a jiu-jitsu perspective? Whatever it is stopping you from training to small or large capacity, it doesn't matter. But what is your mental approach to this whole thing?
Well, I think Gordo really put it well when he was saying stay connected. What does that mean? Does that mean, you're doing some positional stuff at home? Does that mean that you have to play a different game? Does that mean just showing up, keeping that routine of being at the academy? That's what it was for me, get to the academy, watch, take some notes. I know you push that to people when they get injured, and there's all sorts of different types of injuries too. There's some stuff that's pretty devastating, but then there's some other stuff where it's like, all right, I got to take 2 or 3 weeks. Doctor said not even to get on the mat, and so I think the approach can be different depending on the injury. But if you don't stay connected in some way, you're probably, if you're a beginner, right? But even if you've been around for a while, there's a good chance that you're going to slip away and you're going to end up leaving.
Well, Professor Gordo put it in a very interesting way, right? It's like if you disconnect that time, that void that was taken up by jiu-jitsu, now is going to get replaced by something else, right?
Yeah,
And
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either going to be movies, couch, beer, Thursday football. Yeah. Should we quote that one more time because that's becoming like almost the saying of the show.
Marcel Cruz.
Oh, yeah, Marcel Cruz, right? I mean, number one. What was it? I always butcher that.
Well, you butcher everything, but it's the number one obstacle or the distraction from jiu-jitsu is the couch. Thursday night football, but it could be any other sport you want, and beer.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's very comfortable to sit around with your family and basically relax and do nothing. And then if you throw an injury on top of it, it probably becomes a lot easier. You have a built-in excuse not to go to the academy. You have a built-in excuse not to train in any way. But, so is it a reason? We've talked about this a lot. Is it a reason or is it an excuse? If you're injured to the point where you physically cannot train, well, read, watch some videos,
and
take some notes.
I want to cut you off here because I want to give a shout out to somebody, okay? And before we move on and get deeper on this topic, and there's a student of mine who has been injured for several weeks now, and yet I see her at the academy every single week with a notepad and a pen. She sits on the sidelines. She takes notes. She was here last night, matter of fact, right before this recording, and it is mind blowing. I had the conversation with her yesterday, and I was asking, I was like, "What? Why are you here? Like, what? I'm just curious now. What is your mindset?" And she's like, "Listen, I've noticed." This is what she said. So shout out to Elizabeth. If Elizabeth is listening to you, shout out to you. But she said is that she found more details in the techniques while she was out than while she was training prior to her injury.
That's because Kevin's a jerk and he smashes her constantly.
This was a positive shout out. Okay, you ruined this whole thing. Okay.
No, Kevin's amazing. We love him.
But there is something really important behind all of this, and Professor Gordo talked about that. Is that void that is being replaced by something else than jiu-jitsu? It's very challenging to get back once you're out of the injury, right? So, and this kind of goes to the larger topic that I often talk to students about, is that learning jiu-jitsu comes in many forms. There's very different mediums that you can educate yourself. It's not any different in my mind than learning a topic for school or learning swimming or becoming an engineer. It is a study. Yeah. Right? And you can come to the academy and you can pound people into the ground and then life is good, but are you really taking anything away? Right? Yeah. Studying, meaning you're trying to comprehend the topics. You're trying to comprehend the subjects. The larger picture needs to be painted, and really you having a deeper understanding of it is going to make much more sense and may become easier. So now going back to this injury factor, right? Being on a mat is very important. Hands-on practice and drilling and sparring is extremely important. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if you are injured, that you couldn't be studying. You can. It's just you have to find ways how to study while you are unable to do whatever you are unable to do.
Yeah.
So I know I'm one of the crazy ones, but I had 4 knee surgeries, and I remember, especially the more recent ones, which is a decade ago, but the latest ones, I should say, literally 3 days after the surgery, I was at the academy with my leg elevated off the ground. And I'm not telling anybody to do this. I mean, I'm kind of an out there knucklehead about this, but I was at the academy because I didn't want to get rid of jiu-jitsu, period. Like, I was at the academy and I was sitting and I was watching, I was making notes. I'm a huge note taker. You guys already know this. I was trying to learn while I cannot practice, and when I got back, honestly, there were loopholes. But I know for a fact I was miles ahead, I should say, than if I didn't come.
Yeah.
Right? And major knee surgery puts you out by 4 to 6 months, depending on what's going on. Right? Being off for 6 months, I don't know. That's a hard one to come back from.
Yeah, I haven't had that yet.
So. No matter how much passion you have. Yeah. Right? And the second thing that Gordo talked about was I missed my thing. I screwed up. It was going so well.
Well, we'll keep looking. While you were talking, it made me think, you said there's a lot of different ways to learn, and that's why a lot of times you have, what do you have? You have your books, right? Then you have a lecture, and then you have a lab, right? If we're talking about chemistry, physics, engineering, anything like that. So you have your days when you're supposed to have your nose in the book, You have the days when you're listening to lectures, taking notes, and you have the days when you're actually doing the work in the lab. And I think it's the same for jiu-jitsu. You should be...
Hold on, one more time. Lecture, lab, and what?
Books.
A book.
Yeah. So, you have your reading, you have your lecture, and you have the lab.
Okay.
And it's all different ways of learning. And it's taking in the information in different ways and then utilizing it. In the lab, you're utilizing that information that you've been given, right? And it's the same way in jiu-jitsu. And if you can't do one of those, you can still do the other ones, right? You can still read, you can watch videos, you can go back over notes that maybe you took in private lessons, things like that. Then you can show up to the academy. There's your lecture where you're sitting and you're listening and taking notes. And then after your injury, you can once again, do your lab work, which is getting back on the mats. And even in Gordo's case, excuse me, his life on the mat was forever changed. And what did he do? He developed a whole new system, a whole new game for himself, which was half guard. Playing half guard is an offensive position rather than a defensive one, which is kind of what it was up to that point. So, I mean, you can change this injury. You can make this injury. It can have a silver lining for you if you just keep applying yourself in those different ways.
Yeah, and I know what I wanted to say early on. He also said that our brains give up faster, or our brains will give up first before our body gives up.
Yeah. Right.
In the sense of, and if we spin this into this injury conversation as we've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes or so, it in a similar way, like that disconnect will happen first in our head than our body, right? Is the problem or the challenge here is that our head is the one that drives us to come back to the training, right? So the moral here, I think the big message here is, if you care about jiu-jitsu and you want to continue doing it, you have to be connected. I don't know about you or anybody who's listening to right now, but I think majority of my friends, and I would say 99% of my friends, are from jiu-jitsu. So if I was, to not be able to practice, I still would. I don't think I would be able to get rid of it. Like I would stay engaged. I would still be there. I would still show up. It's unfortunately much easier for us to just.
Here we go. You're going to do it again, right? Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say sit on the couch, drink beer, and watch Thursday Night Football.
I mean, that's the decision, right? Yeah. It's just much easier.
Yeah,
it's hard to get up.
I said in that episode, I talked about a decision. I'm pretty sure it was with Gordo. I had a decision to make one day. I was running some errands.
Yeah.
And I was injured, and I was like, hey, am I going to go? I literally a left turn or a right turn.
Yep.
One was going to take me back to the academy. The other one was going to take me somewhere else. And I was like, if I make this left turn, am I going to start going back to those old habits? It's easier. And I've said before, you'll never regret showing up to the academy, but you will regret not showing up. So just stay connected.
Yeah. And don't tell me you don't have time. That's a separate conversation.
Yeah. Wow. Why'd you look at me like that? I don't know. I don't think I've ever said that. And if I don't have time, it's your fault.
See? Always somebody is. Always point a finger at somebody else.
For sure.
Always.
For sure.
Always. All right. Shall we move on? I mean, this was phenomenal. Next few episodes are mind-blowing. That we have legends, and you might not, as this is getting released, you won't know who it is, but trust me, there are some big names that are coming down the pipe. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah, history makers.
Don't forget about Fuji giveaway that we do every single month. As always, drop your name on our website. If you have already, you don't have to do a second time. You do need to listen. You need to listen as we announce the winners. Don't just lean on us contacting you. Be a supporter, and listen, we are on social media everywhere. Make sure you check out some of the stuff that we are posting, and to be honest, do me a favor, share our content. That would really help us. I mean, we get some big names here, and really we want to make an impact. If this helps anybody, life is good, and if not, we just make fun of Gary. I just muted him right now so he cannot even talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and the more you share, the easier it is for us to get some really amazing guests. So keep it up. Appreciate it.
Let's get into the next one. Ready?
All right, peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.